If you spend more than 5 minutes on the internet today, you're going to be force-fed a severely distorted version of what it means to be a man. We live in an era where the loudest guy in the room is mistaken for the strongest. Every day, young guys are bombarded with this hyper-stimulating slop. Content that tells them masculinity is entirely about dominance, about how many cars you own, how rigidly you can suppress your emotions, and how aggressively you can control the people around you. We've reduced the idea of a strong man to a miserable, angry caricature, a guy who views any form of empathy or kindness as a weakness. This is the brain rot we're feeding an entire generation of lost young men who are just looking for a compass. They're being told that to survive in this world, they have to become cold, unfeeling machines. But what if I told you that one of the greatest blueprints for masculinity ever written in modern fiction is a man who possesses enough lethal capability to wipe out armies, yet spends most of his life serving others? A man who isn't ashamed to cry and finds no dishonor in bowing to those who are smaller than him. Today, we need to talk about Aragorn and why our modern world desperately misses men like him. When we first meet Aragorn, we don't see a king. We see a drifter named Strider. He sits in the shadows of a dirty pub, watching in silence. Aragorn is the rightful heir to the greatest throne in the world of men. He has royal blood in his veins. At any moment, he could stand up, reveal his lineage, and demand the respect and authority he is owed. But he doesn't. Instead, he has chosen to live in the harsh wilderness for decades as a ranger. He spends his life protecting the very people who despise him, who view him as a dangerous outcast, without ever expecting a single thank you in return. And here lies the first lesson our internet culture has completely forgotten. True power doesn't need to announce itself. The guy screaming into a camera about how much of an alpha he is entirely driven by insecurity. Aragorn, on the other hand, represents true stoicism, not the fake, emotionless stoicism you see on TikTok, but the real thing. He is highly capable of extreme violence. His skill with a blade is unmatched, but he keeps that violence under absolute disciplined control. He doesn't use his sword to stroke his ego. He uses it only when there is no other choice to protect the innocent. In a world obsessed with flexing and seeking validation, Aragorn teaches us that your value doesn't come from how others perceive you. It comes from knowing exactly who you are and what you are willing to endure in silence. But what makes Aragorn truly exceptional isn't his ability to swing a sword. It's his heart. Modern hustle culture will tell you that showing emotion makes you fragile. But look at Aragorn. When Boromir is dying, a man who, just moments prior, tried to betray the Fellowship out of greed, Aragorn doesn't stand over him with a bruised ego. He kneels beside him. He holds his hand. He grieves for him. And as Boromir takes his last breath, Aragorn kisses him on the forehead and says, "I will not let the White City fall." Aragorn sings. He smiles warmly. He feels fear. He embraces his friends with genuine love. He sees absolutely no contradiction between being the deadliest warrior on the battlefield and being the gentlest, most compassionate friend off of it. This is fully realized masculinity. A man who is terrified to show his emotions is a man ruled by his fear of society's judgment. But a man who can weep for a fallen brother, comfort a frightened child, and humble himself is a man who is entirely secure in his own skin. Remember the end of the journey, when Aragorn is finally crowned king in a massive, glorious ceremony? The 4 little hobbits step forward to bow to him. Aragorn stops them. He looks at them and says, "My friends, you bow to no one." And then he, the great king, along with the entire kingdom, kneels before them. That's not weakness. That is the absolute pinnacle of nobility. Throughout the story, Aragorn is constantly running from one thing: power. He is terrified of repeating the mistakes of his ancestor, Isildur, who was corrupted by the ring. But ironically, it is this exact self-doubt that makes him worthy of the throne. The philosopher Plato once argued that the worst people to put in charge are the ones who desperately seek power. The greatest leaders are the reluctant ones, those who view power not as a privilege to be exploited, but as a heavy, agonizing burden to be carried. Aragorn doesn't want the crown for his own glory. He only accepts it because it is the only way to unite the world and save his people. He willingly puts his body, his mind, and his deepest fears as a shield between death and the people he loves. When he charges alone at the massive army of Mordor at the Black Gates, screaming, "For Frodo!" he isn't doing it to win. He knows he's going to die. He does it simply to buy his friend a little more time. We live in a world drowning in noise, a culture that rewards narcissism, arrogance, and superficial status. But deep down, none of us are looking for an alpha to scream in our faces about how to make money and manipulate people. We are looking for rangers. We are looking for men who create a safe harbor for the people around them. Being a man today doesn't mean stripping away your humanity to become a cold, calculating machine. It means shouldering your responsibilities in quiet dignity. It means being strong enough to weather the brutal storms of life, but gentle enough to bandage the wounds of those who stumble along the way. Don't let this cheap, overstimulating internet culture convince you that kindness is a flaw or that humility is a humiliation. Be like Aragorn. Build your strength in silence, protect the people you love, embrace your vulnerabilities, and never, ever bow to a fake facade. Our world doesn't need any more loudmouth bullies. It desperately needs kings who are willing to serve in the shadows. Thanks for watching. Keep your minds clear of the slop, and I'll see you in the next one.